Welcome to the Beers and Fears podcast. What is going on, Horror Nation? My name is Tucker Miller,
I'm Rowdy.
and this is Beers and Fears.
Yeah.
Today, we're not reviewing a movie.
No, today's not a movie day.
Nope.
Because the movie we had planned is definitely not one we had time for this week.
Yeah, the next movie we're doing is going to be the deepest of deep dives. It's going to be a pain in the fucking ass is what it's going to be.
To be honest, I'm not really looking forward to it because I know how deep it's going to have to get.
Yeah.
How we're going to have to. Yeah.
Yeah, so let's go ahead, dive right in, and let's talk about alcohol. Today, I'm sipping on some Blue Moon Honey Wheat and a
I don't know. Rum and Coke.
Blue Chain Bay spiced rum with some Pepsi.
You a bitch. I just have some tequila over here.
Hey,
And
man,
a Blue Moon.
I don't want to kill myself.
Yeah, you have to work.
Yeah, I gotta go to bed
Sucka.
for work.
Nah.
But over the past week, we had bottled our mead,
Oh, yeah.
and we actually came out with 4 750 milliliter bottles, and so that's your average wine bottle. So we got 4 of them, and we're super excited about that. And like we said,
Hell, I might bring down one of them just to taste it because we still haven't tasted
dude, you fucking go for it. I might hard pass that shit.
it. You can hard pass it, but I'm excited. I've been waiting, 2 months for this shit?
Yeah, Rowdy's super excited about it. Yeah, so I got the Blue Moon. Rowdy does too. It's the Blue Moon Honey Wheat Brewer Select. It's pretty fucking good. It's crafted with wheat and clover honey. Blue Moon Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Doesn't really have much to say about itself on the bottle or on the 6-pack carrier.
It's a good wheat beer.
It's pretty good, and it's really sweet for what it is. Like for the probably next to no honey that's in it.
Yeah. To me,
wheat ale brewed with orange peel and clover honey added.
yeah. See, to me, it's not super honey.
But
you might get a hint.
You
of honey.
You don't really get much honey flavor, but you do get a sweetness to it.
To me,
All right. Fuck you, big diesel bro. He's just out there rolling coal. You guys probably didn't even hear it, but fuck that guy.
Yeah, to me, it just tastes like a Blue Moon. Maybe a little bit sweeter.
I don't know. I like it. It's pretty tasty. Tasty enough that I decided we needed a whole 6-pack of it.
Yeah.
I still haven't touched the 3 IPAs that are sitting in my fridge because I'm like, ooh.
I might grab the 420.
Yeah, dude, go for it.
But,
Yeah, on ad break, go ahead, grab that bitch, pop it open.
Oh, it needs to be drank. It's been sitting in the fridge for fucking since January.
Since late January or mid-January. No. Yeah, mid-January.
Is that when we went out to eat for your birthday? I thought it was the day of your birthday.
No, maybe. I can't remember.
I don't know. That's
early to mid-January.
Fuck.
And so it's it's probably about time to drink it.
That's probably skunky as fuck.
Yeah.
Well, just kidding. It's an IPA. Of course it's skunky as fuck.
No, it'll be better now.
Maybe.
It'll taste less like Pine Sol, more like an actual beer.
I doubt it. Yeah, so, since we're not doing a movie this week, what we decided to do, take advice from, well, not advice, but take a suggestion from the Facebook page that we got of talking about, our own fears and phobias and stuff like that, but we decided we are going to do our own spin on that, and we're going to just, we'll cover our own personal stuff, but we're going to talk about fear in horror movies and what makes horror movies so innately scary and stuff like that. So we're doing our own little take on it.
basically we decided that if we were going to somehow incorporate this into our podcast, that we would have to figure out a way to do it that fell in line with everything else we do. And
that would last more than 5 minutes of us talking
yeah,
about what scares us, because just doing this kind of realized I don't have really very many actual phobias or fears.
no, and I think that's going to be the most common thing amongst us and listeners, is that most people don't have a shitload of phobias, most people don't have a shitload of fears, but
Yeah.
we figured out a way to incorporate it pretty well. If you guys want more content like this, just let us know.
Yeah, just kind of like a chill day. Probably, honestly, it'll probably be a shorter episode than normal.
Maybe.
Maybe we might end up
Maybe
getting
not.
fucking going down a deep dive into one of these holes that we laid out for ourselves. But
Yeah, it could turn into something we were unexpecting.
yeah, but I mean, just kind of going off our usual
me.
thing. This one, I have a feeling will be a little bit shorter than normal because we don't have, you know,
We don't have a whole lot of content to talk about, but
Well, I
we
mean,
may end up talking on it for a while.
we have, yeah.
So who knows?
We don't have like a script that or like a runtime that we're having to either paraphrase or, you know, cut bits out.
Yeah, this one's gonna be kind of more along the fucking seat of our pants.
Seat of our pants, more opinion
Yeah.
than anything. So, yeah, you want to go ahead and get started?
Yeah, so today's topic is what makes horror movies scary. The first thing we're going to talk about is the physical movies themselves. What goes into the movies that make them scary? And now that's not just, the slasher or the monster. No, we're talking about deeper than that. We're talking about the production.
Yeah, production value, how it's laid out.
Yeah, and you'll come to find out pretty quickly, like, why B-rate horror isn't scary.
It's not scary, and it's more of a... I love B-rate horror. I absolutely love
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
B-rate horror, but because a lot of B-rate horror to me is like a dark comedy is today. It's supposed to be scary, but it's not, and I end up laughing through it more than I don't. So with that, you have your soundtrack. Even in B-rate movies, I love horror movie soundtracks. I love orchestral music.
Yeah.
Horror movies tend to fall into that classic, orchestra style music. They don't have these huge electronica or rock.
Well, that...
Some of them do. Some of them have some killer rock fucking tunes playing in the background.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's orchestral. And like,
orchestral.
yeah, that one.
And sometimes it's even down to a single person
Yes.
with the horror machine.
Yes.
Now, I don't know if you've seen it, Rowdy, but that thing is fucking awesome.
I've seen...
I want one so bad.
I've seen it because, Facebook is such a big thing. Everybody's on it 90% of their fucking day.
Yeah.
So I see, like, there's so much shit that I see as to how sound effects and stuff are done. Like taking a stalk of celery and twisting it to make it sound like a fucking neck snapping.
Yeah.
Like, stuff like that. So I've seen, like, how one person can completely change the movie.
Or like the dude takes his like wet hand and runs it across a balloon to make it look like for somebody like smearing across glass.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like cool
these
stuff
are
like that.
these are some of the things we're talking about right now. So, when it comes to colors and sounds, this is a big thing in horror movies. the colors that are usually brought to the forefront are blacks, blues, reds. It's more it's more like physically dark.
Dark, yeah, or dull colors. They're not vibrant colors.
Yeah, nothing
In
except
the-
for blood.
I was gonna say, in the sense of cool colors, I should say.
Yeah.
Because with what I was thinking, instead of like you having your your pastels and your stuff like that, you have a cool color. So a lot of like darker scenes are a shade of blue until when we got color. Until then, it was just like darker shade of gray.
Well, see,
compared to
and
normal.
in the next topic, we're actually going to talk about that.
Like, so you have cooler tones, kind of dull tones, accented with, like you said, blood.
Yeah.
Very, very vibrant.
Yeah, especially early in horror, the blood would be almost pink because they wanted it to like explode off the screen with color because everything else was like
a perfect example of this is Sweeney Todd.
Yeah.
Sweeney Todd, and it's made to be a stage play. It's not, even though I love it as a full-length movie.
Yeah.
It's made to be a stage play.
Oh yeah.
It's always
That's
been
the way it was written.
made
Yeah.
a stage play. And even in the movie, they kind of pay homage to older horror movies, older movies in general. With it's so dark, but the blood is like.
Yeah, it's almost fluorescent.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, there's no way you're like, you watch that movie, it could be your very first time, and the very first thing, like very first critique you have coming out of watching that movie is that blood looked so fake. But it's that contrast. I mean, Sweeney Todd's not a horror movie in my taste.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a dark musical, but that plays to what we're talking about, how horror movies have such a dark atmosphere to them, accented by these bits of color.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, and and normally when things are either vibrant or they're some sort of pop out color, something with contrast, it's things of importance.
Yes, it's
like
there's a reason your attention's being drawn
like big
to
example, the arrows on Jason's hockey mask.
Yes.
They're always like freshly painted colored.
Yes.
Like they're always bright red, or if it's not actually Jason doing the killing, they're they're not like a dark blue, but they're a bright blue.
They're a blue.
It's it draws you to his face.
Yes.
Where the hockey mask is, and it's like, this is the icon. This
Yes.
is the icon.
Yes.
And when things like that are meant to be, extrapolated on, they have, like, say, the blood. You go, this is big.
Yeah.
The dude just got his neck sliced open. This is a big moment. A huge amount of blood pours out,
I mean, that'll go into some of the stuff we'll talk about here in a few.
Yeah.
But, okay, so color and sound plays a huge part, even in a B-rate movie, soundtrack.
Yeah, and so...
I think soundtrack makes a movie.
Yeah, definitely.
If you put a happy soundtrack into a horror movie, like, what movie did we just watch? Goosebumps. Last week, there was a part in it that had, like, super happy music.
Yeah, it had, like, super chill, like...
And then, like, record scratch. Just kidding. I think it was the Goosebumps. It might have been Friday the 13th. I can't remember which one it was.
Yeah, but yeah, like, they're like, this is a happy moment. Now it's fucked up. Soundtrack, just like the sound and score plays such a big role in horror movies. Just take a look at Insidious.
I honestly, because I'm a gamer, I love my video games, and video games obviously took homage to, like, the movies.
Yeah.
Because the soundtrack in, like, video games, even like horror, well, not even just horror, but any time and something's about to happen in a video game, the score of the music starts ramping up.
Yeah.
Faster paced, more intense, what have you. So, especially in the age that we grew up, as far as movies, video games, etc.
Yeah.
Our ears and our minds are kind of conditioned to, oh shit, music's getting different, changing, something's about to happen.
Yeah, we have like a slight attunement to it. Like,
we're
like, start looking at the corners and stuff.
Yeah, it's like, oh shit, the music's ramping up. There's 1,001 health potions around me. Nope. Well, I'm about to get my ass fucked.
Yeah.
So, but it's all harkening back to even silent film.
Yeah, definitely.
Where the music
was the only thing you heard.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I was saying, look at Insidious itself. Like the title card is this explosive 42 violins just doing this.
Yes.
You know, this just shrieking, and you're like, okay, this means I'm in for a fucking ride.
Right.
And then you know, you step farther into the movie, and everything, there's never like a moment of pure silence. It's always ominous sounds.
Yeah, I mean, when you're talking about sound, you're not just having...
It's not just music.
Yeah, it's not just the music. It's everything that's happening.
Yeah, and
glass breaking.
yeah,
what have
and
you.
look at The Conjuring. Everything is like exploded. Like when the door's creaking open, it sounds like somebody's running a fucking pipe across a chalkboard, because it's like, you know, it's the loudest thing ever, because they're like, look at this.
Yeah, it's all to draw attention. That's, I mean, to put it as simply in layman's term as possible, it's literally there just to draw attention.
Well, yeah,
And it doesn't, like, I mean, we could go that far into movies themselves. It doesn't have to be a horror movie. The soundtrack makes a movie, it makes a video game, it makes a fucking soundtrack.
yeah,
Every little change is to draw attention.
yeah.
So, I mean, I'm looking at Star Wars posters. There's about to be a fight scene. The music changes. Battling above Endor. The music's completely different than when you're on the ground at Endor.
Yeah.
You know? So,
This fucking honey always makes me burpy.
the fucking room was amazing when we were dealing with 30-degree days. But now that the days
It's a
are at
little
like 50,
toasty.
it's a little toasty in this room.
But yeah, and not only does it draw your attention, the music also actually kind of has like a physiological effect on
Oh yeah,
you.
it'll
That's
change
like,
your heart rate.
Like the same reason you listen to like hype music when you're getting ready to work out is because you want that heart rate going.
Yeah.
And stuff. And so when something sounds like it's creeping up on you and the music
makes your
is starting
stomach
to scale up,
makes your stomach drop like, oh shit.
yeah, and your heart rate starts going,
your
and
breath starts going.
It starts kicking up that adrenaline. And when you get that kind of adrenaline, you know, to start peaking, that then you know, you have moments where your heart is just like thumping, and it's all because of the music. Nothing's happened on the screen yet.
I mean, yes and no. And like, I get what you're meaning, but for people who can't like read our faces,
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. A lot of it is the music, even if it's something goes bump and somebody's searching through a house.
Yeah.
There's so much your body. This is why I love horror movies, is because it's not, I mean, there's some that are fucking slow as shit, but a lot of the high class grade A horror movies, even if they're classic horror movies like Jason or the original Nightmare on Elm Streets and stuff like that, there's so much stimulation, whether it be visual, auditory, that's going on. Really? Crack a fucking window, you piece of shit. Tucker just ripped ass and then immediately motioned to me that it stank. So if I gag here in a second, it's because of that. But
sorry to ruin your monologue. Keep going.
but no, there's so much stimulation that you're receiving that if nothing's happening really on screen, then there's the auditory.
Yeah.
And all of this is what makes a horror movie, is because when the music's ramping up, you start getting nervous, especially when somebody hears a bump in the night and starts searching.
Yeah.
Or goes off, walking through the woods, and the music starts kind of ramping up. Because I mean, like, me and you have been kind of conditioned because this is what we do. Oh, something's going to happen.
Yeah.
So,
and half the time we can even tell when it's going to be a false scare.
Yeah.
Because of the music. Like, we're like, yeah, it's building up, but it kind of came out of nowhere. Or, you know, there's just like certain little triggers where we're like, Nah. We're like, just wait, it's a false jump scare, and then boom, it's a cat jumping through the window or whatever.
I mean, an actual jump scare, but not to the point of, you got us.
Yeah.
No. I mean, Friday the 13th, cat jumped through the window. We both knew then, even though it did make us jump, just because we're like, oh shit.
We ultimately knew that it was going to be a false jump scare.
Yeah, like it wasn't going to be the antagonist of the fucking movie. But, which is nice because it kind of, like, there's times where that's, like, for what we do, awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's times when, if we're not doing research or watching a movie for an episode, when that shit happens, and it's just annoying as shit because
like, son of a fucking bitch.
It's like, I fucking knew better. I knew exactly what was going to happen.
I wasn't paying attention, damn it.
And this will play into what we're going to end the episode on, so I'll save what I want to say now for then. But let's go on. We'll talk about lighting. And like depth in that aspect.
Yeah, in which I'll expand on what I meant by that. But like, so lighting was like the the big thing for like the silent horror films and just early silent films, or not silent films, but early horror films. Jesus fuck, man.
I mean, look at I mean, you want to talk about lighting being a major thing in silent films? Doesn't even have to be horror films.
Yeah.
Get a picture. Look up a picture of somebody in makeup for a silent film or a black and white film.
Yeah, no shit.
And you guys will be fucking shocked if you don't know what it looks like, because it is so extreme just because of the technology they had like then limited it to a point where the makeup was either extremely bright or it's insane. If you take a picture, I mean, I harken back to like silent film because I have Lon Chaney tattooed on the back of my hand in his Phantom of the Opera makeup. I love the old silent horror films.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, like, no offense to this or anything, but it looks like drag show makeup.
Oh no,
because it's so like explosively bright and stuff, because that's the only way they could get things across. That's what I'm saying. It looks like drag show makeup because it's all exaggerated and stuff. Because
no offense, because
they did makeup the same, like a little bit farther actually, but the same way you would do stage makeup, which we've both been part of the stage, so we know, when you do your eyeliner, you do it with a fucking brick so that it's, it's thick enough. And
exactly, I actually got shit about that not too long ago about wearing eyeliner. When, for those of you who don't know me and Tucker used to be in a band together.
Yeah.
And to make ourselves look better on stage, we would put on, guy liner.
Well, that, and we were also in productions and stuff like that. But
you more so than me.
Yeah.
But like, as far as being on stage, that lighting, and first off, the eyeliner around your eyes makes it a lot easier to see what you're doing because you don't have the glare. My bad.
Damn.
Shit. It hit my fucking mic stand. Makes it easier to see. It's the same reason why professional athletes wear eye black. It reduces glare, etc. But in order to make a face look like a face on old, 38mm cameras and stuff like that, or whatever the fuck they were using back in the 20s and 30s to make film.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm a plebe.
And so am I. The makeup had to be you had to make the contours of your face so prominent just to make it look normal.
Yeah, like you guys think women take their contour out of hand today? Like,
look up a male.
Yeah,
look at
Lon Chaney.
Well, Lon Chaney, he was kind of.
But like, look at the deep shadows he drew into his face and stuff like that.
Sorry if I get sound weird. I'm moving.
Yeah, just shut up. I'll talk for a minute. And so not only that, look at like Elvira and stuff like that. Like the light, they literally had a rectangle light just blasted on their eyes because they're like, look at this. look at their eyes when they're talking, and look at the Addams Family. They did the same thing.
Right.
You know, when people were talking, you know, light was shined on their face because everything was so dark. They're like, draw the attention here. And so in more modern films and stuff, you can see that kind of thing happening. It's a lot more subtle because we have color and we have depth of field and stuff, but
Well, the technology in the cameras
yeah,
is what
yeah.
changed all of that for the better.
If you look at modern movies today, you can see that like it's not light directed on the eyes or whatever. It's where depth comes into play. Now, what I mean by depth is, say, the camera is focused on the protagonist of the film, and they're real close to the screen on the 50-50. You know, they're off to the left or off to the right. But what you see in the background is an empty hallway until the lightning strikes.
I'll give you a perfect example.
The Strangers.
The Strangers.
I knew it.
Still a movie that I will not...
It's
we'll
terrifying.
talk about that
The movie's
in
terrifying.
the whole personal fears
Yeah.
and things. But The Strangers, I cannot watch at night or by myself at night.
Period.
I'll
Hard
watch it-
fucking period.
I'll watch it by myself. I have in the middle.
Yeah.
Middle of the day.
And I gotta have the curtains wide open, the glare on the TV and everything.
Yeah, pretty much. But there's a
Yeah.
scene in The Strangers where it's a hard focus on one of the protagonists, and then in the background it like scrolls across, and you see the antagonist step out of a door frame.
Yeah, and he's just there silently.
Yep.
And that's where the lighting and the depth comes in, where the lighting was just, you know, just enough on him to where you could see him in the background. And if you weren't paying attention, you could have missed him.
I was gonna say the very first time I watched that movie, I
missed him.
I missed it completely, and the second time
And he
I watched
stood there
it,
for so long.
Yeah.
And I was just like looking at her face. I'm like, oh, that's when I didn't know what horror movies were and, you know, how they
like,
worked.
not to expect it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I watched this a second time, and I saw something move, and I was like,
You're like, oh no.
I was like,
oh, bitch, you're going to die.
and that's when I was like, fuck this.
Yeah.
I can never watch this movie
Yeah.
at night again.
And that's where depth comes into play. You know, like I was saying,
And it's
there's
not just camera depth.
Oh, no.
That's the thing.
We're talking about just depth of reality. Because nothing is shot on a stage anymore. You know, like you know what I mean? Like, most movies aren't shot on a stage anymore. You know, they have houses and things like that, and you have the long hallway that's dark, and then lightning strikes and the window flashes, and there's somebody at the end of the hallway, and that's what brings it to life now.
Yeah. Now it's not just you're not trying to act on a 20-foot set
No,
that has 4 different fucking backgrounds to it. So that first scene, that first backdrop is and limits your acting space to
it's
10
10 feet away. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's I understand that, but I mean they work on sound stages and stuff, but they have the ability to actually make a 3-story fucking house a reality in that sound studio. The depth in my mind as far as production, it goes into, they're not just thinking about depth of field or depth of view. They're, how can we fuck with your mind? And
Well, yeah, but I was talking more about production, and that would fall more along
production,
execution,
yeah,
which is what we're going to talk about
Now.
after this ad break.
Oh, all right.
And we're back. So, where we left off was the production of what makes horror movies scary. Now we are moving on to the execution.
Yeah, which,
And this one's pretty big for Rowdy. He likes this one.
yeah, I mean, when you go into the execution, that means, yes, the production, like making it.
Yeah.
The execution of it, though, is wrapping it all together. So, the story, the acting, the effects, all of that plays into the execution, because I can make a movie saying killing Tucker, but if I don't make it believable or whatnot.
It's just a shitty YouTube video.
Yeah, basically.
No, I see.
So,
You're talking about it's the pre and post production points,
yeah.
not production itself necessarily.
Yeah, the execution of the production.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
you can have a top-notch story, but if you cannot execute
Mm-hmm.
that story, then it goes to shit.
Mm-hmm.
Same if you have a top-notch story but don't have the actors to make that story what it is,
Yeah.
it goes to shit. That's why there's B-rate fucking movies.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and
So
as-
first, you're kind of wanting to touch on his story,
yeah,
right?
the story. So like I said, you can have a top-notch story, but the execution of it can be half-ass, and it goes from a top-ranked, Oscar-winning movie to
Yeah.
a B-rate film
Yeah.
that
so,
barely gets recognized at like the Sundance Festival.
So what kind of story elevates it from just a shit movie to a great horror movie?
It's not the story itself; it's executing the story.
Okay. Okay. I see what you're saying. It's the
not-
execution of the
Not
story.
not the story itself.
Okay.
But
Okay.
the execution of the story, because let's go back to what's the fucking, there's a horror movie and it deals with like fucking tomatoes, like
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
yeah,
Yeah. It's a great film.
it's great B-rate. I love that movie,
Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
but
My mic is way louder than yours.
I think it's mine actually. I think I'm just yelling.
No, you're all these
honestly.
low ends. I was like,
Oh.
"Grr."
But
Sorry, guys.
But yeah, like Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Yeah.
That could have been an A-rate film if the execution of said film,
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
like, so yeah, my point was not the story itself, but the execution of the story. Like
Mm-hmm.
Texas Chainsaw, that was a story that was taken from like real life, Ed Gein and other serial killers, and condensed into one, figure.
Yeah.
And they executed it to the point where they had, 3 or 4 in the original run,
Yeah.
and then 3 since. Or Jason. For some reason, that story has been told time and time again. You know the story of Jason.
Yeah.
But they can still make
Just
movies
keep dishing them out.
that
Yeah.
still make money.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I was going with the execution of the story.
So what do you think of the execution of the acting? Because I got a few
I mean-
ideas in mind, but
I mean, in the horror genre, a lot of the actors are either coming up actors or
they're out of
depending
porn.
on what franchise they're working on,
Yeah.
they might have 1 or 2 big name actors.
Yeah.
Everything else is literally up and comers.
Yeah.
Or
and
people
it
that
kinda
are trying
seems
to
like-
make a break, but in the long run, they're not going to.
It kind of seems like that's like where they're going, is because like at least up until like more recent times, like horror movies were kind of like the black sheep of films. They never had the kind of budget that
Yeah, now
just
that's
like
just the porn
Transformers did and whatever. But these movies have kind of a funny way of bringing out the best in these nobody actors or the worst.
Yeah.
Like when they when they get 12 porn stars to make a horror movie, you know it's going to be shit because they can't act. They can't even act in porn.
Yeah.
We know you're not orgasming.
I mean, basically, but yeah, like, it's especially nowadays, like I said, a lot of the horror films are using like up and coming actors or unknown actors,
Yeah.
and it either makes them or breaks them.
Yeah.
Because you can be really good in a horror film, and then you might get cast in something else
Yeah.
that will boost your career even more, or you're a shitty fucking actor and you go downhill.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you peak doing horror. I mean, it's either you make the cut or you don't
Yeah, I
after you
understand
do
what
a
you're saying.
horror film. So that's what I was meaning as far as acting. Like, it'd be sweet to act in a horror film. It'd be great.
Yeah, it would.
I'll take my 15 minutes of fame and go on about my business, you know? But those that want to do acting as a career, you kind of do shit acting in a horror film, you're pretty well relinquished to either extra parts or like B-rate films. And it's hard to come back from that.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how like these these heavy hitters of horror movies, like just like the big name horror movies, that if you do a bad job in it, you're knocked down to the shitty horror movies, and that's the only way to go. And
I mean,
so
the easiest job in the horror movies is being the monster.
yeah, no shit.
I mean, look at I can't remember his name, but the guy who played Jason in almost all of the movies has done stonework and other shit. Like,
yeah,
hiding behind a mask makes it 10 times easier for you.
yeah, no shit. You know, you don't have that. You don't have to, you know. You don't have to convince the audience that you're afraid
Yeah.
because you're hiding behind a mask, or I don't have to convince you that I mean that I'm going to kill you
Yeah.
because it's all hidden behind a mask. And see, and that's a that's one of the biggest problems of horror movies is that the actors and actresses, which I guess they prefer to be called female actors.
I
I
don't
don't know.
fucking know.
But,
don't really care, honestly.
The actors and actresses, they have to convince the audience
Yeah.
that they're afraid and that they're terrified. You know, you look at action movies, I don't have to be convinced that that dude's getting shot at.
Right.
And he's just like, oh, I better duck behind this
I mean,
cover.
it's why,
you know, and so that's what makes horror movies so difficult to act in.
It's what makes Stanley Kubrick's movies
Yeah.
so intense and so, like, pretty much the standard for certain types of movies. I mean, you look at The Shining, that was basically a fucking torture documentary
Yeah, no shit.
on the female lead, which was literal, like, psychological torture pretty much through the entire shooting of the film,
Yeah.
to the point it really did psychological damage to that actress.
And that's how you make good horror movies. You
But-
fuck up people's lives.
Literally, but it's one
Yeah.
of the most revered horror films
Yeah, for
because
sure.
it's fucking real.
Yeah.
Like the axe through the door.
Yeah.
She wasn't expecting it. They didn't tell her when it was going to happen, how it was going to happen, or how close she was going to be to it until it happened, and there's an axe like 2 inches from her freaking eyeball.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it's fucked up, but if you want that genuine reaction where no matter what, you see that pure look of fear in somebody, you can't act that.
Well, yeah, and I mean, and it's not just horror movies that they do that in.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
look at Star Wars. They
Not
they
Star
held
Wars.
they held they withheld the information that Vader was Luke's dad to everyone but Mark Hamill.
yes, no,
And
Hamill didn't even know until after he recorded it.
and so like when everyone's like no and oh my god and all that, you know, all that shit, that like nobody actually knew that because since Vader's character was a voiceover, he said, "I killed your father," and
Yeah.
he's like, "No."
Yeah.
But everyone else didn't know that was changing, and that's how people at the theaters were like, "Holy
Yeah, that's
shit!"
why the original Star Wars was the way it was, and I
Yeah.
think probably the big reason it took off like it did.
Yeah.
Going talking about not even other movies. I can't remember what fucking movie it is. It's the guy who plays Snape. Fucking played a bad guy in
Yeah, I
a
know who you're
different
talking
film,
about. I can't
and
remember
I
his
can't
name.
think of the
Jesus
film. I can't
Christ.
remember his name, but like he was being hung off this edge of a skyscraper, and then dropped, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna count to 3, and drop you," and they released him on 1. So that look in his eyes, that look on his face, was a genuine, oh fuck,
Yeah.
like scared to death reaction, because sometimes in order to get the reaction you want,
Yeah.
that's the way you have to do it, but it gives you that genuine fear,
Yeah.
like, oh fuck reaction. So, I mean, acting, yeah. Move on to effects. You either have good effects or you have bad effects.
Yeah, and that's not just special effects, that's practical effects
Practical
too.
effects, anything.
Like, look at what made the thing.
I mean, your practical effects. Tattoo on the back of my hand is Lon Chaney in the Phantom of the Opera makeup, which he had a fucking piece of wire from the tip of his nose, like taped to the back of his head to lift his fucking nose up.
Yeah.
Like, we went from that to a lot of shit being CGI, which, sweet, looks more realistic sometimes, but kind of cheating.
Personally, for me, what makes effects look their best is when it's blended, when it's CGI and it's practical effects mixed together, because okay, like Jurassic Park. We'll take Jurassic Park for example, and this one's kind of a shitty example, but like
They use
like the newer ones, like Jurassic World.
Well,
okay, so
they have people like
well,
with,
they have like
motion
say, like
capture.
the claw comes out and it touches the person's face.
right,
They have
yeah,
a mechanical hand that came out and touched their face, so you see the real, their skin actually
It's
reacting
kind
to
of like
something, and then they just skinned it.
yeah, it's like a motion capture thing.
Yeah, and
Like, so the effects really pay. I mean, CGI. I agree. Yes, some of the best is when it's mixed. But I'm kind of old school. I like my, classic horror movies and stuff like that, where if you wanted a reaction, if you wanted some sort of effect, it had to be a
it had to be silicone.
practical.
It had to be
effect.
silicone and wires and
I
shit.
mean, not horror, but when they blow up the Death Star,
Yeah,
that was an actual explosion.
yeah,
In Indiana Jones, when the face melts, that was a practical effect.
yeah.
Stuff like that, where they, like with Indiana Jones, they used gelatin
Mm-hmm.
and heated it with a fucking blowtorch
Yeah,
and sped up the film. So,
yeah. Well, and then even when you dive into the horror genre, look at The Fly.
yeah.
The Fly, like that movie was fucking terrifying for the time. Like when I was a kid, I watched that movie with my dad, and I was like, "Fuck this!" Like I had nightmares about that shit.
I like the original, like old, like
Well, yeah,
30s, 40s Fly better than the newer one. But yeah, which I mean, the older one wasn't
Yeah.
terrifying at all. But yeah, I mean, there's a fine line, and if you're gonna do CGI, do CGI and make it fucking look good.
Yeah, one thing.
I don't want no fucking Goosebumps, which granted, yes, that was from fucking 20 years ago.
Well, yeah, but like that wouldn't pass today.
That wouldn't pass
Yeah.
in a heart. Like that, the second an editor saw that, that would go back.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it really does upset me when they're like, "Oh, we'll just go the CGI route," and then you got to fucking risk it for the biscuit on
if
CGI.
you're going to
Like,
go
you gotta dump
CGI,
the
you have to
bank.
fucking you're
Like-
that's where your money goes, not
Yeah,
with the fucking
like,
acting.
everyone's
not
like, "Well,
anything
it's
else.
cheaper for special effects." I'm like, not if you have good special effects,
Yeah,
and that's where a lot of that's what casts you into B-rate or a sci-fi original.
yeah, basically. But yeah, I mean, we can go on for hours about the effect side of things.
and what makes effects scary.
Yeah, well, what makes them scary is when you can have somebody whose face peels off, and it looks like, oh shit, that's fucking meat and tendon.
Yeah,
That's one thing, but
it's about the
When you
artist's
have-
ability to make it look real.
I was gonna say that's an art form in itself, whether it be
Mm-hmm.
CGI or practical. Fucking fly.
Oh God.
Yeah, I just happened to fucking see it. But yeah, like, I give props. I wish I could do special effects makeup.
Yeah.
I mean, our Halloweens would be the fucking shit.
Yeah. No joke.
But so yeah, I give hella props to anybody who makes it into the industry of doing special effects makeup.
Yeah.
That's fucking insane what they can do.
Mm-hmm.
But that makes or breaks a movie.
Yeah, for
Period. End of story. Between that, the acting, and them doing a story justice.
sure. Well, yeah, and
I mean,
and like I was saying with like the whole Jurassic Park thing and whatnot,
well, in
it's not one
the
of those things.
First 3 Jurassic Parks, the raptors were actually people
Yeah, they were
acting
straight up
out live
practical
action,
effects.
acting it out, kind of motion capturing it.
Yeah, and what makes it, going back to the theme of the episode is like what makes it scary. And for a lot of people, Jurassic Park and the Jurassic World movie, that whole franchise kind of starts to bleed into horror, They have a lot of horror moments, not necessarily the
okay,
whole movie
I
because
think-
it's more like an action
I think that'll
heroic
play
one, but-
into the next
yeah.
our next topic, which
But
is
well, real quick, let me finish. It's when it comes to effects, it's the fact that like it's not just like the CGI thing and everyone's just like looking at the corner of the wall. That's what makes a sci-fi special is there's nothing that they're looking at and they're like, well, we'll just edit and post, pretend there's a giant snake there.
right.
With them, they actually had something to look at and react to.
Yep.
And when something touched their face, it wasn't just some CGI thing and they pretended something was touching their face,
Yeah, it's
They-
motion
they
capture at that
they
point.
they were touched, whether it was a practical effect or motion cap,
Right.
and so you're like, oh my God, they're really being attacked by, whatever. And it immerses you and it gets that
Immersion's
heart,
a big thing.
it gets that heart pumping and stuff. And if you don't have that, see you on the B-rate list.
Yeah,
Simple as that,
Exactly, but let's go ahead and move on because we could spend a fucking entire episode on just talking effects.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go ahead and move on, but you said talking about Jurassic bleeding over into the horror genre, and that's to me plays into the phobias and fears
Yeah.
aspect of the audience, which, to kind of give you viewpoint, a fear is an emotional response to something happening.
To an immediate threat.
Yeah, immediate
An
threat.
emotional response to an immediate threat.
Yeah, and a phobia
Mm-hmm.
is an anxiety that is part of fear, or it's like an extreme side of fear, where
Yeah, and
your phobia is you can't even think
And it's
about
it's towards a future threat or
Yeah.
possible threat.
yeah. So you can't like if you're scared of spider, if you have a arachnophobia,
Hmm.
that's a detrimental fear of spiders, whether there's one around or not. Like, oh shit, spider, which I kind of hate. A lot of people are like, I have arachnophobia or a phobia of heights or whatever. I have such and such phobia, but that's not the actual case. It's kind of like I mean, not a topic for our show, but people saying they have anxiety about something when it's just
When it's
not
just
their thing.
Well, yeah, when it's just like normal anxiety, like anxiety is natural.
Yes, but
There's a natural form of anxiety, and they're like, well, I get anxiety when I get into a crowd, and what it actually I'm not judging anyone on having anxiety or disorders
No,
or anything like that, but a lot of the time it's just, oh, you just don't like crowds because that dude stinks, that guy yelling, and this guy keeps bumping into you. Like, now, like, there's plenty of people I know that that's crippling. Like, they're like, they won't even get out of the car if there's more than 10 people standing
yeah,
there,
exactly,
But,
exactly. I don't like being in big crowds,
yeah,
but that's not an anxiety.
yeah, you're just kind of antisocial.
or a phobia of mine. I don't like people, and it's not a fear based or anything. I just
Yeah.
don't like being around a lot of people because I'm an asshole, and instead of running my name through the fucking dirt myself for berating somebody for running into me or yelling in my face, I just disassociate myself with that.
Yeah, I just let it happen.
I understand. I understand. There are some people that it's literally they can't get out of the car. They can't walk through the door.
They can't get out their own house. Yeah, like,
exactly.
that's a real
and I
issue.
feel so I wish I could help those type of people. And I mean that's anxiety, which is like I said, basically an extreme form of fear.
Yeah. And with these yeah, like you were saying, like when somebody's like, "Oh, I have a phobia of heights," like, well,
like me,
a lot of the
I'm
time what it is that they go up somewhere high and then they're like, "Oh, I feel uncomfortable," which is natural because you're 100 feet off the ground on some rickety ass scaffolding.
Yeah, exactly. It's
And then they get down and they're like,
we'll get
nope.
more into this when we go to personal fears because I do not like heights. Is it a phobia of mine? No, because I can still fly. I can still be in a multi-story building.
yeah, and if you gotta climb a ladder, you will.
Yeah, I've never been stuck on a roof. I've had to talk myself into
fell
climbing
off
off
the
of the
roof.
fucking roof
Yeah.
before, but I can do it.
Yeah.
It's not crippling.
Yeah.
A phobia is a crippling fear.
Yeah, it's
a
a legitimate
crippling
anxiety disorder. And
Like a psychiatrist would give you anti-anxiety medicine type of phobia.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have that type of stuff. Like I don't have any fears like that I have found. Give me another 10 years and maybe. But yeah, a fear versus a phobia is crippling.
Mm-hmm.
A fear is something you're uncomfortable with. You don't like the dark.
Yeah, stuff
You
like
don't
that.
like being on a roller coaster because they go up, it's that first climb. I hate that first climb of a roller coaster.
That's the best part, dude.
No, fuck that. I rode the Mamba
Just
too.
that clack, clack, clack.
I rode the Mamba and about halfway up I was like, I don't want to be on this anymore.
Dude, that one's dope.
Yo, it's fucking amazing. After that first drop, it's always that first fucking climb.
That clack, clack,
I
clack,
hate
clack,
heights.
clack,
I
clack,
hate
clack, clack,
shit.
clack,
I hate
clack,
heights.
clack,
So
clack,
that first climb
clack,
is fucking
clack,
terrible.
clack.
Yeah, and then you fucking freeze for a second because
That's
the
the best.
momentum's trying to shift forward. Yeah, fuck that.
That's the best.
I hate it. I hate it, but guess what? I've still done it.
Yeah.
More than once, and that entire ride I'm fucking white knuckling.
Yeah.
But as soon as that drop hits, I'm like, fuck yeah.
Woo!
You know, a phobia, I want to be able to get on a roller coaster or ride an elevator to the 6th floor.
Yeah.
Or fucking hop in a swimming pool or what have you.
Yeah.
Like, a phobia is something that it's so ingrained in your psyche that it physically stops you.
Yeah.
Even if you want to do it, your subconscious stops your muscle function, etc., to do it.
So do you have any phobias?
Like I said, I don't think. I mean, we're gonna kind of bleed the next, like our next point into this because I personally, I don't think I have any actual phobias. I have some major fears and things that absolutely terrify me, but to go to a point of saying it's a phobia, no.
I do. Your boy Tucker definitely does not like spiders.
I mean, I don't like spiders either.
Like,
to the point, if I walk through a spider web, I do the whole fucking...
you do the chicken dance.
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
the jig.
No,
And stuff like that. And if I see one, I'll smash it. Unless it's, like, in the corner,
yeah,
super far away. And I'm like, you stay there the second you move,
you're dead.
you're dead, type of thing. Like, certain spiders, I can have spiders in my garden because guess what? They keep the fucking mosquitoes away.
Yeah.
But
Okay, so
I
so
have
what,
a spider crawl on me. Go fuck yourself. Hey, you put a spider on me, I'm gonna beat your ass and then kill your. Well, I'm gonna kill your spider and then beat your ass. Type of thing.
okay,
You know.
so since you don't have any real phobias, I guess what I'll do is I'll explain how it makes me feel. Okay, so say I'm looking through Facebook and somebody posts a video of a spider, it unsettles me.
Right.
When
It
okay,
does,
well, I'll just kind of go through the steps. If I really love nature documentaries. If I'm watching a documentary and they start talking about spiders, I fast forward.
right. Which I know I personally know this about you. But
If I see a spider in the same room as me, I won't go to that part of the room.
Tucker.
Well,
hold
let
on,
me
hold
do
on.
it because I'm trying to be a big boy here and admit the shit myself.
In layman's terms, you know the classic cartoons or movies where there's a mouse that runs across the floor and
And the ladies with the wine glasses.
lady jumps up onto the chair or onto the table and screams. That's basically Tucker when it comes to spiders.
Well, it's more than that because there have been times where, 9 times out of 10, I can't kill a spider myself. I have an issue with if I see a spider, I kind of freeze up. Like, so there's a really good example. When I was much younger, I would go to sleep, and it seemed like almost every night I would wake up and there would be a spider on the ceiling over my bed. I would be too scared to move from where I was laying because I would be literally so scared that the spider would like fall on me, or it would get on me, or it would run down, and I would just lay there for hours and stare at that spider, just waiting for it to move away. And things like that, like, it's a problem. Like, like I said, I can't kill my own spiders. If I see a spider, I have to call the girlfriend in, and I'm like, hey, can you take care of this?
So in other words, Tucker
is a bitch.
is a bitch.
A big bitch.
But I mean,
bitch. Like,
but
I'm scared of spiders, man.
But for
I don't
real,
fuck with
like,
them.
I understand. Like, there's a big phobia. I don't, like, me personally, I say I don't have any phobias. I'm sure I could, if I fucking sat down for a while, I could find one that absolutely petrifies me.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't like spiders. You know I don't like spiders. But I can get up and kill a spider. Or do whatever.
And
the second I have one crawl on me, the second I walk through a web.
yeah, you do the chicken dance.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, fuck this.
But,
like, I'm done. Like,
fuck.
I get the creepy crawlies. Like, I'm okay. I'm okay with ants. I'm okay with beetles. I'm okay with anything.
See, I am too. I'm fine with like any kind of insect life, even scorpions, which are arachnids.
No, not me. Not me. The second you get over 6 legs, I think you should fucking die in a pit because
millipedes are fucking amazing.
No, see, that's what I don't. I no millipedes. I think that would be me. I mean, I can deal with centipedes and millipedes if I'm out working in the yard or whatever.
Yeah.
If I saw one crawling on me or crawling like on my table, on my bed, or whatever, I probably would freeze, and either I'd freeze or, like, you know when you feel something crawl on you and you do that fucking split second freak out and realize it was just like a fucking piece of cotton or a hair. That'd be me.
Well, see,
I would throw everything off and fucking do the whole stomping on it and then find out that it was nothing.
Well, see, if what I just told you sounded bad, it also gets worse. Like, if I see enough, like, say I'm looking through, you know, Facebook, and there's a few people on my Facebook which I want to murder, they have spiders, and like they have a bunch of pet spiders and stuff, and they breed spiders and whatnot, and
I know who you're talking
tend
about.
to fucking post all the fucking time. And if I see enough of their posts, or if like I'm Googling something and I see enough spiders, like I feel like I can feel stuff crawling on me.
Oh yeah,
all the time.
No, I get that too.
And it takes me like an hour to like get down from that. Like every few seconds, like I'll be like, you know, I gotta like smack, you know, smack the arm or smack the leg, or I'm like, get it off of me. And like if I
no, I totally
explain,
get that. Like, I can see something,
yeah,
or something, and then next thing I know, I get the fucking creepy crawlies, and I feel shit crawling on me that's not there. You know.
Yeah, and
so I get that.
I think it mainly stems from the point of when I was really young, like 3 and under.
Well,
I was bit by a brown recluse on my chest,
right,
and I almost died, and so I think that kind of stuck with me, even though I don't remember the event.
Well, I
have the scar. But...
It's kind of it's the same reason why you're not a big fan of clowns, and you like do not like porcelain dolls.
I'm kind of over the whole clowns thing.
Exactly, but like
I grew out of. The spiders thing does not go away though, and I don't know why.
For you, but it's that same type of thing. There's something that happens in the background, and if you don't know Tucker's background, when he was young, he had a porcelain clown fall on his fucking face when he was a kid.
Yeah,
so
shattered my shit wide open.
Yeah, so he
for a while I had a problem.
Yeah,
but I'm okay now. I
mean,
watched Stitches. I'm good.
Stitches.
I'm okay now.
If you're scared of clowns, Stitches will fucking fix that right up.
Yeah, you're like, wow, that was stupid.
You see a penis floating into the air with a balloon, then you're fine. But like I think it's a lot of it is how you were raised, what you were raised around, and past experiences.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
I've never been bit by a spider or anything. I don't like shit crawling on me.
Got bit by my iguana once.
You know, I don't like being touched unless
on your butt.
Well, anywhere for that matter. If you're somebody I don't know and you come up and fucking grab me, I'm not going to be happy about it.
Yeah.
If I know you, if you grab me, that's fine. If you try to wrap me in a hug, I'm going to be like, what the fuck are you doing? Unless you're one of my best friends.
Unless you got big old titties.
No. You're trying to get me in trouble.
It's like people listen to this that would be mad.
But, like, unless you're, like, close to me,
Yeah.
don't fucking touch me. It's that type of thing for me with spiders. Like, get the fuck away from me.
Yeah.
And if you have more than 8 legs, I don't give a shit.
It's fucking
You
war.
you are an abomination to this fucking world, and
I'm gonna
you
get
can
a pet
fucking die
centipede.
with a fucking flamethrower, and I'll be happy about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a pet centipede now, or a millipede,
Well, have fun recording this podcast by yourself, because
and it's gonna sit on the podcast desk. So
sorry,
so,
I am
yeah,
responding to a friend that didn't know we had a podcast right now.
So yeah, let's talk about why phobias tend to not work in horror movies, and I've stumbled across a realization while we were recording this on why they do and why they don't.
I was going to say, it depends on the situation, because you have 8-Legged Freaks, which is...
Oh god, that movie's awesome.
Oh, it's fucking amazing. It's funny as fuck for me.
See, and I'm like petrified of spiders, but like 8-Legged Freaks is one of my favorite movies because it's so goddamn funny.
Yeah, exactly.
And
it's
the
a funny
spiders don't
fucking
bother me
movie.
at all, even though they are very realistic. Like, well, I mean, like the CGI's a little
They
on the
look like
shitty
a
end.
real spider,
But they look
minus
like
the
real
fact they're
spiders.
8 foot fucking,
Yeah.
big. I think it comes in the context. 8-Legged Freaks, ginormous fucking spiders.
Yeah, and well, see, we can take it on the other side of the level with that, with arachnophobia. Now, arachnophobia.
I was gonna say, you're gonna have to fucking
Have you not
refresh.
seen it?
I've
Oh,
seen
okay.
it. It's just been so long I can't.
So
remember.
arachnophobia deals with this species of spider that comes from, I think, South America. I think that's where, you know, the storyline takes place, and it comes to the United States and it starts having babies, and it basically infests this entire house, and there's like 10,000 of them, and it's like if it were a reality for me, I would probably just end it. Like I just you know, hit the clock out. And so what happens is, like, they're regular spiders. Like 90% of the movie is real spiders.
Oh, there's a fucking
And they're
movie
all over
that
the house,
just
and it's
came out.
Fucking it's okay, it's not scary, like, to me. I don't find it scary, but it is very, very unsettling. It's also not supposed to be a horror movie. It's like
But
a thriller kind of.
There is a movie that literally within the last year, since me and my girlfriend started dating, and because she knows I'm not a big fan of spiders, she sent me it just to fuck with me. And it was like a trailer for a newer, like a movie that's should have come out by now.
Yeah.
But one of the things was like a fucking 2-foot
Fuck
wide
that.
fucking spider, and I'm like,
Like some sort of like orb weaver or something?
no,
Fuck
it looked
that,
like
dude.
a fucking Black Widow, like looking spider, but fucking 2 foot,
Fuck
like
that.
2 foot big, and I was like,
Fuck that
does.
movie.
She's like, oh, does this freak you out? Does this scare you? And I'm like, no, it doesn't
If it
scare
were real,
me.
yeah.
It doesn't scare me. It makes me uncomfortable as fuck, because if there was a spider that big in existence, I would just off myself now, because
no shit.
fuck that noise.
Yeah.
But no, it doesn't scare me. It just, it makes me uncomfortable. It gives me the creepy
Yeah, you're just
crawlies,
like, why
because
would
I'm just
somebody
like,
do
what
this?
if that fucking actually was a thing? It's like the fucking huntsman spider in Australia that's like a fucking foot wide.
Dude,
or a
that's-
camel spider
that's the
in
reason-
Afghanistan.
That's the
a
reason I
foot
don't want
wide.
to
I'm
move
like,
to Australia.
no. Oh, hell
That
no.
that reason alone is the fucking spiders.
Oh
Fuck
yeah,
that.
I'll deal with a black adder and all that.
Yeah,
shit. I'll deal
give
with
me
snakes.
all the snakes, all the
I was gonna
lizards,
say
all
I'm
the
weird.
fucking
'Cause
scary
a lot of
things
people
there.
that are scared of spiders are scared of snakes. Don't like lizards. Don't like
Yeah, no, I'm
reptiles,
about all
etc.
that.
I was bit by. I used to have a fucking ball python. You remember my ball python? She fucking bit me once.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? It scared the fuck out of me at first because I was
Kinda
like, Jesus
fucking
Christ,
hurts
that
a
was my
lot.
fucking thumb.
Yeah.
Couldn't feel my thumb for a day because, they have chemicals in their saliva that is like a numbing agent or a paralytic if you're small enough. So, yeah, it scared the shit out of me. She barely caught me. Barely fucking drew blood. But I was like, alright.
Shit, mine drew a lot of blood when it bit me.
She barely.
Dude, he
my
fucking got my
snake-
arm and he clamped the fuck down.
My snake barely got my thumb, but it was just enough to literally, I couldn't feel my thumb for the rest of the day. But
So, anyways, let's talk about why they don't work.
they don't work because I think a lot of it is a lot of the horror movies, like, okay, The Collector. This is one that it does work because it deals with crazy amounts of fucking, like, phobias people have.
Mm-hmm.
Getting something jabbed in your eye, etc.
Yeah, it's kind of like
The Collector,
the
like,
whole
they
torture
have-
porn kind of thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's points where it does work. So, but when you have something like Eight-Legged Freaks or stuff like that, where it's like
Well, let's
so blown out of proportion, or you take a spider, which a normal tarantula, somebody is terrified of.
it's
but
about the size of your palm.
on the big side.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like, the biggest.
That's a big bitch.
Yeah, that's especially our palms. We have
Yeah,
big
we got
fucking
big hands.
And then you jump it up to they're 10-foot fucking wide.
Yeah, like you're just like,
And you're
lol,
like, eh.
good meme.
Like,
But,
cool. Like, that's not. It's one of those. I'm trying to think how to word it. It's like a pocket knife.
Mm-hmm.
The world's biggest pocket knife is. All right, sweet. Sure,
Can't use it.
it's a folding knife, but I have to have an extra person to help me use this knife.
Yeah.
Like, no. Like, it's one of those things where your reality actually overrides your fear.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, and
there's a point where even if you have a certain phobia, that you're able to differentiate between make-believe and the real world.
Yeah.
Like, like with Eight-Legged Freaks, that's the one that keeps popping to head because they're fucking ginormous spiders. No way in hell, in our lifetime, maybe in previous lifetimes, spiders were that big.
Yeah.
Now, no. And we don't have evidence that they were ever that big.
Well, and you can see, and when it's like natural phobia, well, I don't want to say natural phobias, phobias of certain types of nature, like fauna, it's always blown out of proportion. Like
Yep.
it like
Jaws.
sharks. Well, Jaws is who
Megalodon.
did it right. Jaws who did it right. Jaws was just a great white.
Yeah.
He was a little bit big, but he was still realistic.
Yeah.
Okay, but
And then
then
you
you have
Megalodon.
like Deep Blue Sea and the Meg,
Which, yes, I understand.
which I still haven't seen that. I want to watch it.
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. We talked about this a while back. The shark
Yeah,
or water monsters
yeah,
have been so fucking especially sharks with Sharknado and all that.
yeah.
It's been so over fucking saturated that I don't care to see it. So I really don't care to see the Meg, especially right now.
Oh, I just want to see it because it just looks like a.
I mean, if we do an
a good fun movie.
If we do an episode over it, then I'll watch it. But until then,
Well, now we're going to just so I can get you to watch it.
until then, I don't care to see it because it's so oversaturated. And I understand the Meg. Yes, the Megalodon was a prehistoric animal. Who knows? There might be one swimming around.
Yeah.
I mean, We don't know.
90% of our oceans is still unexplored.
Exactly.
So, yeah, that's kind of a possibility.
Exactly. But at that point, go fuck yourself, Microsoft.
I don't know if that went through, but let's hope not. So let's talk about moments where it does work. So a few of the moments that I kind of had pop into my mind where it really does work is when people have a big phobia of getting stuck.
Yes.
And then you have movies like The Descent or As Above, So Below, and stuff like that, where you know they're kind of spelunking through a cave. We will go over that
fucking movie, by the way.
But, say like The Descent, you know, they're crawling through, and the dude gets stuck. I've had this happen to me, and it's not because it's a phobia of mine, but like I did freak out, and it's such an uncomfortable feeling. Like my dad, he was watching the movie, he turned it the fuck off. Because he was like, I can't watch that because the dude got stuck between two rocks and he's like, I can't move. And my dad like started hyperventilating and shit.
Right. And that, I mean,
and like,
again,
I'm like,
that,
oh shit, hey,
that
turn
plays
this off.
into like our next talking point, and I hate to just kind of push you along.
No, you're good. We're kind of,
I was going to say, we're fucking running an hour.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, if you want, no, we're almost done.
We'll I was going to say, we're pretty well. I mean, the next few points are going to go by relatively quick, but like you said with your dad, and this will play into like personal fears and phobias. Like I said, I don't have like actual phobias that will stop me from doing something. I'm scared of heights. Does that mean I'm going to go free climb a 100-foot cliff?
Hell yeah, it does.
Fuck no, because I know for a fact that I'm not strong enough
but your ass is gonna slip
to do it. So no, I want to do something stupid like that. I like rock climbing.
Yeah.
I'm not scared of flying, but like with my fear of heights, it's more of I'll be on the 6th floor, and in the back of my mind, it's one of those. If the floors collapse right now, like even on a 2nd floor, if it's like an open balcony, I do not like it.
Oh man, I actually love it.
Because my 2nd floor doesn't really bother me. I've fallen off of a roof before.
Like,
but
give me
like
12 floors up and then give me a balcony to just like look out at the... Oh man, I love it.
I couldn't do it.
I won't look straight down. But...
I mean, I could do it, but I would not be comfortable.
But see, that's
be one of those people
a fear because it's like an immediate response.
Yeah,
and
it's a fear.
Getting way the fuck off topic.
No, we're not. It's because we're talking about personal fears and phobias.
Oh, I guess I kind of got off topic.
You're like,
who fucking
not
cares,
going on,
man?
But like, it's more than like 3 or 4 floors. Me being on a balcony, yeah, I could do it. I'm staying close to a wall. I'm not going to lean over a balcony, and I'm not going to be comfortable or having fun.
Yeah.
And it's literally, I mean, I guess you can call it a phobia. But
well,
I could sit at 3,000 or 30,000 feet in a plane and be whatever.
If you had a legit phobia of heights, you wouldn't fly as much as you do.
Right.
And
especially over water, which I'm going to be doing this summer type thing, you know.
Shut up, bitch, you're going to have fun and you know it.
Oh, I know. I'm going to be on a beach.
Fucking blast.
But like the constant thought in my mind is if shit starts collapsing, well, at least I'm on the fucking top floor. So
I'll live the longest.
Yeah, basically. But like it fucks me like that thought is constantly playing in the back of my head.
That's just more
fuck
of like
me if this collapses.
Existential stuff.
Oh yeah, like totally irrational, you know. Which I get. And that's why I don't call it a phobia. I know it's irrational, and I know, like, these are made to do this.
That's more just, like, existential thought and stuff, and everyone has that. They just don't admit it. So let's kind of just move on.
horror based though. The ones that fuck me up are people being in my house
Oh yeah, fuck that.
with me. This goes back to
With
the
you not
stranger
knowing
thing.
they're in your house.
This personal fears and phobias plays back to when we talked about the strangers earlier.
Yeah.
I can't watch that movie at night because I live in the middle of the woods.
Yeah.
Sometimes I hear shit and I don't think twice about it. And that could have been somebody coming into my house.
Sometimes you do hear shit and you're like, that's a dude with a bag on his head and he's gonna fucking stab me.
Exactly. Be in the shower by myself in the middle of the fucking night.
Yeah,
Nobody
you're
else
like-
home.
you're
And I'm like, I'm about to get murdered and my gun's halfway across the house.
You're gonna get
So-
psychoed.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, maybe it's because...
It's alright.
What
When I'm
I do-
home alone, I shower with my gun on the fucking
Like,
bathroom.
I mean, maybe it's because we literally do this
Yeah, we're
and
just
watch horror
paranoid
movies,
as fuck now.
watch horror movies and shit. And you know me, I like my documentaries, so I watch my serial killer and
Dude, I'm a
all that
paranoid
stuff.
son of a bitch. Like
But,
every
like-
time somebody walks past me at work, I'm like, they're a murderer. You're a murderer.
Oh, yeah, like,
you're a murderer. I'm
maybe-
gonna die.
Like, I think part of it is because of what we do,
Yeah, probably.
but like, fuck, it's kind of ridiculous that it plays that much. But talking about your dad being like trapped between two rocks, it reminds me of the movie 127 Hours.
Oh my
the rock
god,
climber
fuck
who
that movie, man.
I mean, it's a real story. It actually happened to a
That is a horror movie.
guy. Yeah, if you're scared of heights or
If you're scared of having to
or
chop off your own fucking
claustrophobia
arm with a
or
pocket
scared
knife.
of blood or anything like that, that movie will fucking send you into a spiral.
Yeah, fuck that shit. That movie is no fun.
I wish
So-
I could meet that guy, but yeah, we'll keep going.
So yeah, let's talk about what draws people to horror movies. And it kind of ties in pretty closely with what we just talked about.
I personally think it's all fear based.
Well,
Honestly,
Yeah, mostly. Yeah, a lot of people go because they're like, oh, I'm
they
really
like being scared.
yeah, they're like, I'm really scared of that theme in that movie.
I'm
Let's
gonna
go
go
see
watch
what
it.
it's about. Yeah, or they're like
They're like me and you.
okay.
where-
Well, we as creatures are back way in the Wayback Machine. You go back, and humans didn't sleep for 8 hours a night.
No, they slept
They
for
s-
4 hours.
they slept
were
for
up
4
a couple
hours,
hours,
yeah.
and then slept for another 4.
Yeah,
Yes,
because
that's the
because
natural
if you
human sleep
well
pattern.
because if you slept for 8 hours straight, you were eaten.
Well, it's not only that. I mean, you go before electricity.
Yeah.
Before electricity. I mean, what? Early or
Yeah, just
early
like what,
18th century.
150 years ago.
Yeah, like before electricity, when we were still using flame to light everything.
Yeah.
It was like, and you can go without electricity for a week, and by the end of the week, your body naturally conforms back to what it was. Where
Yeah, you'll wake up in the middle of the fucking night going, "Why am I awake?"
yeah, because your body is not like the human psyche in the body is not meant to sleep for 8 hours. It's kind of a fight or flight response, I guess.
Yeah, because you have to be awake. Like if I sleep for 8 hours straight, that's 8 hours of vulnerability.
Mhm.
I'm going to get fucking eaten
Yeah.
by
But-
a lion, by a bear, by a
Right.
tiger. Oh my! But that
Not in Kansas anymore.
fuck
Uh,
that and see, and we don't have that anymore.
right.
I mean, most of us don't. Sometimes
I mean-
people get mugged and shit, but
Right.
they probably don't frequent horror movies after that for a while. But no, we don't have that anymore. You don't have that in your day-to-day life. You don't ever experience that fight or flight response
Right.
until the fucking a spider crawls on your arm. Then you're like, oh fuck. But
Right, which is
and
an
so-
irrational response to something 9 times out of 10. But I mean,
Yeah,
it's
dude.
a response because
But,
that's not something you're used to dealing with.
and so when
It'd be like us in America, we're not used. I mean, granted, give area locales.
Mhm.
Us and like me and you in the Midwest, yeah, we're used to gunshots. We're used to hearing people shooting like target practice.
Yeah.
That's one thing. We're not in Chicago where those gunshots could be coming through the window
Yeah,
right
no
now.
shit.
So, I mean, I'll give you that. Like, we don't have that.
Well,
It depends on your area.
yeah, well, what I'm saying is it's natural to kind of like fill that void as those creatures that were used, back in, way back in the Wayback Machine. They were used to that constant fight or flight response, because they would have to defend themselves
Right.
from things that wanted to be higher on the food chain.
Right.
And so I feel like people seek that out now because it's kind of a primal instinct. Your brain is like, wow, you've been like super safe for like a long time. Maybe we should like amp things up. And that's why people do stupid shit or go see horror movies.
Right.
It's because your brain
there's
gets
something
bored, man.
there's something genetic about it, I think.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
what I'm talking
obviously,
about.
there you have your natural thrill seekers, like
Yeah.
Pastrana or Dungy or Brian Deegan.
Yeah,
I mean, those are all motocross guys, but
I catch your drift.
that's something where you go off a ramp wrong, doing a
Yeah, you're fucking
double backflip.
Yeah, you're fucking toasted
You're
marshmallows,
looking
man.
at Cameron Moore, I think. I think it was one of the Moore brothers got
Well-
killed at
well, just-
X Games.
Well, just
like
look at Street
6
Bike
years ago.
Tommy.
Or Street Bike
when
Tommy.
he took his
fucking
bike off the ramp and hit a fucking.
the reason why his
he
name
hit
is
a backhoe.
his name is Street Bike Tommy is because he fucking took a street bike off of a freestyle ramp into a foam pit.
Yeah, he
and
took a
overshot
leader
it.
bike off of it and ended up hitting a fucking fork truck or a backhoe or whatever, and he almost died.
He hit a bobcat,
Yeah,
just a skid
yeah.
loader. But yeah, exactly. About killed
With
himself.
his body, not
Yeah.
like he
Not
he
with the
didn't run
body.
into it.
No,
he
no.
fucking ding
Yeah, with
ringed his
body.
fucking bell off the roof.
Eric Roner, rest in peace. Fucking
Yeah.
skydiving. Sorry, you will never get me to jump out of a perfectly good airplane.
Yeah, that's kind of.
I don't give a shit how fucking safe it is. Ain't happening.
Yeah, I'm definitely the kind of guy that like somebody would be like, "Hey man, how's your parachute fit?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, it fits good. I'm ready for if something happens," to it. And they'd have to push me out the window.
Yeah,
They'd be like, "See ya."
yeah,
I-
exactly. And I'd be like, literally, I am the fucking Burt Kreischer when it comes to it. If you haven't heard his story of skydiving with Rachel Ray, listen to it because that's me. Like, what are you scared of? I don't know. You're going to get hard, which is going to make me get hard, and then
Yeah.
the parachute's not going to open, and you're going to fuck me into the earth.
Yeah.
That is me. I don't know why, but that's just my fucking thought process. The parachute's not going to open.
Yeah, see, that's me.
So...
I'm paranoid like that.
And like, yeah, I'm just paranoid. I like thrill seeking. I've jumped off a fucking waterfall, the highest waterfall in fucking the state of Missouri,
Yeah,
or the largest waterfall in the state of Missouri. Jumped off of it, hit a fucking rock underneath the water. Guess what? Might jump off the fucking waterfall again. Probably not, but might, because after that I'm like, oh shit, these things have repercussions, and I could have fucking broke my back as I slide down the fucking rock underneath the water, you know? So it's like growing up has made me more cautious, but I guess I can take that out with our horror movies, you know?
Yeah, and like
so
I
I
was-
mean, that plays into your whole just filling a void
Yeah,
of
and-
flight or
Well,
flight.
see, and I think that's like what a lot of people do is, and they're okay with filling in that void because they're like, well,
It
I'm in the
happened to
comfort of
me.
my own home, or I'm at the movie theater.
Which,
I'm safe.
Fuck that, but
Throw
I'm
some
sorry.
air quotes on that. I'm safe.
Right.
Rest in peace to the viewers of Batman and
Well-
Aurora. But
Well, that's not what I was thinking. Not I just
yeah,
I was thinking
Rowdy
I'm
hates
not,
going to the movie theater for some reason.
I'm not because I'm not spending $40 to have a movie ticket, a medium Coke, and a
Bruh.
small fry.
Bro, you got to learn how to have pocket candy.
Okay, oh, my man's. I have.
You got to have that. You got to have that flask on deck.
I know that flask is always on me. You know me.
I'm just saying, like,
but
snack
no,
bars
like,
are relevant when you go to the movies, my man.
but I mean that's missing the point. It's the fact that the cost to go to the movies, and if I had time off, I would go to the drive-in every weekend
Driving stank.
because that's what $10 at most for tickets to 2 movies.
Yeah, you just got to learn how to stay awake long enough.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but
that goes.
growing
that
up
was a
around-
shot at me. Like I always end up
Oh.
falling asleep because now I work.
the
nights.
last time I went to a drive-in fucking movie, I fell asleep by the second movie too. So
Yeah.
I feel you. Yeah, like fight or flight. Let's continue. It's the euphoria. We already kind of covered that. Like if you're a
Yeah.
thrill seeker, you want that heart rate. You want that relief.
Yeah,
at
you're
the end.
adrenaline
Like,
junkie.
you like the adrenaline, which everybody chases adrenaline in different ways. Whether it be Travis Pastrana doing 20 different extreme sports and jumping out of out of a plane without a parachute. You know.
Yeah.
What is it? Bonsai diving, I think
Yeah.
is what they call it now. Stuff like that, or bull riders riding fucking bulls, or rodeo clowns,
Yeah.
bullfighters.
Yeah.
They like being called bullfighters now
Oh, do
because
they?
apparently rodeo clown is offensive.
gang shit. I
Yeah.
guess. Whatever.
But like then it comes to there's one of two reactions you can have to horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
You come out feeling like, all right.
Yeah.
Like having an adrenaline high.
Yeah. What he's talking about is it's the lingering reaction.
Yeah, the lingering reaction, which you can come out of the theater.
With almost kind of a buzz off of it.
Yeah, with like an adrenaline rush, adrenaline high. Or you could come out shaking, piss running down your leg,
Yeah. And
type
end
of
up
thing.
with some
And I mean,
anxiety for the next few days and
or longer,
in
because
certain cases, yeah.
I mean, that's all due to your own genetic makeup and your own psychological.
Yeah, your own brain chemistry and stuff.
Yeah, because I mean, you go back to The Exorcist, and there were some people that were like left fucking high as shit on adrenaline, and then you have some that ended up hospitalized because of the anxiety
Yeah.
things that it brought up. So, I mean, everyone's take on horror is crazy. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think maybe next week or the week after we're gonna kind of do another episode kind of like this.
Yeah,
And just kind of have a bit of a discussion.
Probably
kinda see what we talk
just a
about.
quick episode.
Yeah, this one kind of
I'm-
blew up in our faces.
Oh yeah,
Became
for
this huge
sure.
monster that we didn't expect it to be, but hopefully you guys will enjoy it like we did. We had fun.
We have one other point to get across, but I think
But I think we're gonna.
no,
move
I
that
think
into
we'll
another
do that on another episode. Probably just a little bonus episode
Yeah, something
for next
like
week.
that.
But yeah, with that, Tucker has to work in 8 hours, so he
Yeah.
needs to go to fucking sleep.
Yeah, so if you guys want to get a hold of us, have any recommendations, critiques, anything like that, you can always send us an email at beersandfearspodcast@gmail.com.
Message us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Beers and Fears Podcast, I believe.
Make sure you join our community page. It is the Beers and Fears podcast community page. And
But
make
it
sure you,
is a
like
closed
both.
group.
Yes.
It is a closed group. Answer the questions that are on the invite,
on the invite.
so that we know you're not a bot, basically.
Can't get in without answering the questions.
Yeah, there's been a few people that got in without answering the questions. That hasn't been a thing for over a week. If you add or want to be in the group, make sure you answer the
It's
questions.
2 simple questions everyone can get as long as you've listened to at least one episode. If you're not about Facebook, you can follow us on Twitter. It's at Beers and Fears. Simple as that.
Yep.
Send us a follow. You can even direct message us on there.
You're not big on any of the major social medias, anchor.fm/Beers and Fears Podcast. That is our homepage, basically.
Yes.
It's where we upload first. It's
Yeah.
kind of our home
You
as
can-
far as the podcast goes.
Mhm.
Granted, you do not get any of the extra pictures or feedback from me or Tucker.
But what you can do on Anchor FM is you can send us voice messages that are linked to that particular episode that you listen to, if that's the way you want to do it. So you can send us voice messages directly related to the episode that you just watched.
Yes. Or voice messages in general.
Yeah.
Along with Anchor, though, down in the show notes at the bottom of the
Mhm.
whatever you're listening to, there's going to be a show notes drop down, in that there will be a link to something called listener support, which listener support is kind of like a Patreon or what have you. You can donate to the podcast to help with production or what have you. Just help us along. You don't have to. We would appreciate it if you did. But yeah, show notes, listener support. You can donate, help us get merch. We would still like to do an episode or two a month live for
just listener supporters.
Either listener supporters or subscribers, that eventually, if we do that, it'd be like live on YouTube or whatever, something like that. So listener support helps us improve our podcast.
Yes, very much. And keep in mind that we are still doing the giveaway on the Facebook podcast page.
Not the community page.
No, you need to like the Facebook community page. And once we hit 125 likes, we will reveal what the giveaway item is. And once we hit 150, we will start the process of the giveaway.
And that's on the official page, not on the community page. 125 likes on the official page. We will we will give you guys a sneak peek of the giveaway item. 150, we'll announce the giveaway and
you'll basically just have to do
giveaway.
A like, comment, share thing. And then, So make sure you guys are not only listening to the podcast, that you are liking the Facebook business page. And so you can help us spread our word. I think that's about it. I think that wraps it up.
Yeah. And
does it?
If you're on if you're on the official page and you're not on the community page yet, go ahead and hop over there. You kind of get some behind the scenes stuff. I mean, I posted a picture a while ago of us doing what we do on both pages. Yeah.
One last thing. If you guys would be ever so kind is to hop onto your favorite podcatcher that you're listening to right now and give us a 5-star rating and a great review. The ratings and reviews, especially on Apple Podcasts, are basically like money. The more 5-star ratings we get and the better reviews we get, the higher on the charts it pushes us. And then hopefully one day we can be on Apple's top 200 podcast chart. And that would make us happy boys.
Yep, but I think with that, I've been Rowdy.
And I've been Tucker.
And this has been Beers and Fears.
Have a great week, guys.